Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic for today's session is how to build a globally successful product company. Our guest speaker today is Avinash Sethi, Chief Marketing Officer at Sapience Analytics Private Limited. As the Chief Marketing Officer at Sapience, Avinash Sethi is focused on helping to grow the company into the next orbit. An MBA from IIM Indore and a graduate in electrical engineering, Avinash started his career with Tata Consultancy Services. He worked at Intel, where he architected numerous high-performance enterprise solutions. His penchant for exploring uncharted territory came handy in establishing the Indian operations of Infobeams, which he actually co-founded, followed by the UK and Pune offices. Over the past 17 years, Avinash has acquired a deep understanding of every function of business. He has developed a keen interest in strategy, marketing, and finance function. He believes in building long-term partnership with customers by gaining insights into their spoken and unspoken needs and addressing them proactively. So, without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Avinash.
Hey, thank you very much. And sorry, sincerely, very sorry for delay that is caused. Welcome to this session. We are trying to share all the experiences that we have from Sapience Analytics, which is a company that we have built successfully in past 4 years. And what I've done is we would give you what Sapience is. We will tell you how we have grown in each of those business dimensions and how as a company, when if you want to start and if you are an entrepreneur yourself, what are the things that you should be cautious about. And while you're building a company, you should be knowing that these are things that you will face, and you should improvise on that. So we will use Sapience progress as a case study, as the case in point, where the stories of Sapience will help you as an example, and then obviously you can see if that examples directly applies in your context, or you can always fine-tune it based on your own business needs. So here is Sapience. We'll start and we'll try to wrap it up in the next 35 minutes or so that we can cover up on the time. And I will request you to put up your question in the question box, and I'll try to address it towards the end of this session, because most of the questions that you might have could be answered while I'm completing my presentation. So we'll wait for the question and answer section towards the end of the session. So here it is. Let's start to understand how we can build globally successful company from India. So go to the next slide. These are the agenda items that we have. We will look at about the Sapience as a company, understand various business tasks, look at the key strategies that we have followed, and what are the learnings. So Sapience is a product promises 20% more work output from the existing team of an organization and without any change in processes. That's a huge change if you look at the impact of that versus the effort that is required to bring that impact. So that's the USP of the product. A little bit about the company. Founded in 2009 by 4 entrepreneurs. They previously had sold the company to 2 companies in the past, to Symantec and Symphony Services. Both the companies were significantly large enough. And then we started building in 2009 we started building Sapience as a product, which focuses on improving team productivity. by providing automated visibility into teams' time and effort while at work. We got multiple funding in the past, one being from Indian Angel Network and the other being from Seed Enterprise. We have Rajan Anandan, who is Google India MD, on our board. Multiple recognitions in the past. We recently, 2 weeks ago, we got an award from NASSCOM as selected as a league of top 10 companies in product space in India. We also got multiple awards like IDG Channel World magazine featured us in their cover page in 2013 February issue, and so on and so on. We have 50% installation so far, 60,000 users, this is old data, and 45 million work hours being analyzed till date. So Sapience has been able to build marquee customers in just last 2.5 years by virtue of obviously the quality of the product. It is very powerful product. It's very well built, so there are no bugs. It is a very mature product because now it is catering to large companies, as large as global 500 companies. So we have 2 of those companies as our customers. 3 of India's top 10 IT companies are using Sapience as of now. So that's very powerful testimonial to the fact that yes, the product is built to a very high quality and it is addressing the needs of those companies. Therefore, it is being successful, so successful in a very short span of time. And currently, the other top 10 IT companies are using our product and they're trying it right now so that we can buy it in future. So this is significant progress that we have made. What Sapience is, so the vision statement that Sapience is that we want to do everything about people at work. So we want to know what people are doing while they are in office, what tools, what applications, what activities they do to perform their duties. So this is what we all try to capture. So currently Sapience is available on multiple devices, including computers, including Windows 8 tablets, including Android phones and BlackBerry phones, and also on Linux operating systems. So we are available in so many platforms already. That is where we could capture the work pattern of any individual working on any of those platforms. So you might be seeing a blank screen. There might be some little internet issue. Let me just go back and forth. Yes. Now you should be able to see the screen back. So what Sapience is doing right now, it is trying to look at the enterprise side of the business, trying to figure out as to how these work patterns can improve the output of the entire team and how it can benefit the organization. We're also working on the individual side where we're trying to see if an employee or an individual can get the maximum benefit out of Sapience by improving his work-life harmony. We don't call it work-life balance, we call it work-life harmony because we say that this goes hand in hand. There is no separate bifurcation in today's world where devices and internet is so omnipresent. So when we say that, we ask our users to ensure that they work while they are at work, and while they are at home, they should not worry about work. So they try to improve their life by saying that while you're in office, don't worry about Facebook, don't look at shopping websites, don't distract yourself from non-work activities, and ensure that whatever time you're in office, you should dedicate to work and deliver much more than what you've been doing in the past because of several distractions around us. And once you are away from office, don't worry about work because you would have fulfilled your responsibilities already, so you don't even worry about it. So that's why we're trying to bring in work-life balance. We're telling people that if you're spending 11 hours in office, stop doing that. Spend only 9. And within those 9 hours, deliver as much as 6.5 to 7 hours of work to your employer, and be much better than the earlier scenario where you were in office for 11 hours but giving only 5 or 6 hours to work. So you save 2 hours and go home and give it to your family. On the other hand, you also can use Sapience data for your self-quantification, trying to understand which all activities that you perform while delivering your responsibilities. If you are a programmer, ensure that you spend most of your day on programming activities rather than worrying about attending emails and responding to non-related, non-business related emails. So what we have figured out is several companies, employees, even programmers are spending more time on emails and meetings as compared to their programming activities. So with Sapience, once you start to see your own work day, you can improve upon and you can change your work habits for the benefit of your own, because now you will be much more productive in a very short span of time. So that is where Sapience starts to bring in a lot of value. I'm going to the next part of the slide, where these are the various vision that we have achieved. These are various milestones. So we discover what people are doing 24/7. We deduce and analyze it based on the activities and purpose. And then we generate analytics and generate trends based on which business can take decisions to improve upon the productivity levels. We also are trying to gamify the tool in a way that it becomes a buddy for you. So it guides you if you are not focused on your activities. It can become a play where you can have a group of your people or your friends compete with each other in terms of your programming activities, in terms of your business activities, and so on. Plus, we also want to be very smart enough to look at the predictive analysis, where we try to not only generate data but come out with solutions in advance, with very smart solutions for the enterprise itself. So not only just giving them data, but trying to analyze it, trying to predict what are kind of activities or actions that the person should perform in order to improve the quality of the team or the output. So this is where we are. We are reading calendars, we are reading phones, we are reading Windows and Linux operating systems. We are also reading Citrix remote desktops. So this is where we are, and the red boxes are where we want to go. So this is the vision statement. So anybody who wants to look at creating a business should start to put his or her vision on paper. Try to put it down black and white. Understand where they are and where they want to go. This is very important, because when you go and sell out, when you go and do your selling for your customers, so you would need to sell the vision to them. You just because your product will still be very, very small component of your vision where you're just starting up. So you need to show the product that is currently available, but also tell them this is where you want to go in future. So this vision statement is very, very important, both for your internal growth and your clarity of purpose, as well as taking it to the customer and selling it to them. Because customer is ultimately buying your vision, not the current product. Keep this in mind. This is a very important statement. So have your vision very, very clear in front of you. So what we are going to learn today is that how Sapience adopted an expanding spider's web strategy, and how we built and scaled the product, and then what are we doing now to go for global expansion. So some of the core aspects that we will quickly cover is team, idea, go-to-market strategy, product, sales, pricing, marketing, and last but not least, funding. So in the process, I will keep an example of Sapience all the time, and there could be slides which I will skip through very, very quickly. So Sapience is a combination of a very, very experienced core team. So one of the questions that you always have is when you start your company, first question will be, should you have more co-founders with you? So based on my experience and based on Sapience experience, 3 to 4 partners or co-founders are good, and ensure that those co-founders are complementary in skills, not supplementary. So one person can do sales, the other person should be able to do technology, the third person should be able to do marketing, or a fourth person should be able to do operations. So these kind of complementary skills makes your team very, very strong, and at the same time keeps the burden of the others, and everybody stay focused on their strengths, which is a very powerful strategy to start with. The second thing I would want to tell you is that if you're creating a product, you ought to have senior experienced programmers with you or technology people with you, as against the fresh college guys. The reason behind that is a product is something that you build, and over the period of years, when you build on top of the product every now and then, a mistake that is done in the initial years becomes very, very costly to correct or fix as you move forward. So therefore, if you have senior architects in the team which can build the core very strongly, such that it is scalable in future, and it can also take on the future needs of the roadmap of the product, that becomes a very powerful I would say strategy to begin with. It becomes very, very strong foundation for your product. So example of Sapience is that Sapience was the core founders that we have, all the four founders, they are into four different business areas. One is into hardcore into engineering, the second was into hardcore into sales, third is into quality assurance, and fourth is into overall business strategy. So these four people formed a very strong team. Now, when they hired programmers to build on the product, they focused on, initially they focused on select senior people. And these senior architects were responsible for building the core of the product. So the first 2 years, it was primarily an engineering team where all the co-founders were doing the selling. Now this is very important statement, because co-founders need to go out in the market and sell. If they can't sell themselves, they can't hire somebody to sell it for them. Or they should not hire somebody for them to sell, because they need to be passionate enough to get some early customers. And that is where the contribution of founders will come, because they will do everything available. That is because of the scarcity of resources, but they should also be focused on their core strengths. And earliest key employees, we have provided equity, and we also provide stock options to all the early employees. That means that they are buying the idea of coming into your company. Because if since you are starting up, you would be short on resources, you will pay less than the market salary. For someone to come to your company for less than a market salary needs to be completely convinced with your vision, and needs to be with the mindset to be able to contribute to the product and take it further as a owner of the company. And that is where the equity comes in very, very useful. Now, when we want to go to the US market or any overseas market that we want to plan to, we tested the early success by selling to global MNCs within their Indian offices. This means that the decision making is done by the US folks, because it is their offices. So we know that it is a problem that is being addressed for US players as well. Now, in order to sell it to them, we would have to hire people who work in that geography to understand the local culture and the local context. That means that we need to hire somebody from there itself. We can't export salesperson from India to do the selling in US. So that's one of the learning that we get. So a very quick summary on the founders, Shirish Devadhan, Madhukar Bhatia, Swati, and all of them have 25 years of experience and responsible for various roles. This is the core team. If you look at the bottom part, demographics, 40% of the team has over 12 years of experience. 30% of the team is women, so there is kind of gender equality, trying to maintain that. And everyone has stock or stock options. So that's very powerful thing that we did from the start. So stock options are a very strong motivator for early employees. So now let's go to idea. As an idea, whenever you come with any product idea or business idea, you need to ensure that yeah, there's one question I will want to address. It's very interesting. So I have started my own company but don't have any partner. So there is no harm in it. And you can always get a co-founder even after a year of operation. So the person who is willing to invest or who is willing to put in his time and energy dedicatedly for your business, you can always have him as a co-founder. That's not a problem. It's not necessary that you should have a co-founder right on the day one. But if it helps, I mean, if there are four people helping you out and to start the company, it helps a great deal, because in a state of despair, if somebody is finding a lot of challenges, the other person is there to support him out, and vice versa. So that bonding is very, very useful in the initial years. But if you are studying alone, that's fine, not an issue. You can continue to do that. So I'll hold on the other questions for now. So let me come back to idea. And from an idea perspective, you should get global validation on your idea. So whenever you are starting a business or a business idea, ensure that there is enough potential and enough market opportunity out there within the local market first. At the same time, ensure that this is also a potential idea that can be deployed in a larger scale at a global geography as well. So you don't need to prove that right now, but you need to research enough to understand that the idea has potential for a global audience. So the potential validation needs to be done globally. That's the first thing. Second thing is, once you know that the idea has a local potential as well, you can start to test it out with within your closed circle. So within your friends and family, you start to look at and build the product and start to give it to them to use it for free. So this is where you keep your eyes and ears open, get the feedback as much as you can from each of those early adopters, and try to see if you can build on the product. Very commonly we have seen that whatever idea that you start with, you end up building product which is drastically different than what you thought of. So as a potential, as a creator, we might have something when we started out in mind, but when the users start to use it, when they start to use the product, they would have their own requirements that you should be open to learn and understand. And once you start to adapt your product to those requirements, you completely get into a different direction. But that's perfectly fine, because that is what the demand of the market is. You might have a different idea in your mind, but the market is needing something, then you need to cater to that need. So you should be open to understand what the market is asking for. And the easiest way to do that is to throw it out in the market as early as you can. Now, even if it is a non-paying customer, it is just a customer who is willing to invest his time to use the product and give you the feedback. That's very good. You need to embrace those early adopters. And this is what we did precisely, because when we had early adopters who used the product internally, these are like friends and families who started to put it in their own 50 people, 100 people kind of companies. And they gave such a valuable feedback that we could build a very strong product moving forward. And these were all early adopters, free customers. So what Sapience is a solution that tries to increase the productivity of employees, and productivity is a bigger problem globally. So what we traditionally do is we assign work to people, and people put in their time and effort. We are all used to track outcomes. We only track deliverables. So we don't track the input side of the equation, which is where people put in their time and effort. That's a black box to us. So what we have seen is there is anywhere between 25 to 40% leakages on the input side of the equation, where people are bothered by distractions around them, Facebook, WhatsApp, shopping websites, news, cricket score, all of that. Plus tea, coffee. Tea, coffee tend to be half an hour activity in India. Smoking is another time killer. There are several other distractions that we have around us. Plus, even not assigning enough work to a team is another leakages. So there's a transition between projects that also causes a lot of leakages. So what Sapience focused on was to provide a clear picture on the input side of the equation, where we know how people are spending their time. And once we start to know that, we start to come out with a lot of course correction. We start to come out with a lot of insights as to how we can improve upon that. And employees themselves start to correct their own behavior, because now they see that they are in office for 10 hours, but the time on work is only 5. So where are those 5 hours going? And once they start to do an objective analysis for themselves, they start to improve upon it. And there is a 1 hour game that happens automatically for everybody. So that's the power of Sapience, and all this happens automatically. So I will not go into detail of this. Now we'll go to another facet, which is go-to-market strategy. So the moment you identify a problem and the moment you identify a solution to that, you need to understand which are the areas where you will be able to sell it faster, where there will be minimum resistance, and obviously where there is a higher demand for such a solution. So Sapience, when we started out, we realized that that is a solution that will improve the productivity for services companies. And there's several services companies which are available in the market. So which services companies will be the easy target? So we thought of IT services as an easy target, primarily because we are all from IT. Secondly, IT is where they earn in dollars. And third, IT is where they do the billing and time and material. So if they can improve their billing rates, or if they can improve their productivity, there is a significant gain for themselves. So that's how we started out in the IT space. The same tool can solve problems for financial services companies, for design engineering services companies, and for any back office companies. But we focus only on the IT services companies, and we started out with Pune as geography. So we started inside out, where we just focus on one geography, and then we started to expand in 1 or 2 verticals, which is IT and ITES, and then we try to expand further. So one thing that you should all know is India is a very difficult market to crack, especially in the enterprise product space. There is still not the mindset to buy software. There is still not the there is still a mindset that software is normally free, and why you are charging money for it, and why you want to charge every year. So all kinds of basic mindset issues that you will face. Plus there is a whole bunch of delay in decision making because of bureaucracy and because of other things. So it's a very long cycle, and it's a very tough market in India. But if you can, but there's another advantage here, that you can get feedback from your early adopters, and they're very vocal about giving feedback. Everybody wants everything, but nobody wants to pay for it. So that kind of a feedback leads to a good input for your early adopting stage, where you can use those inputs and build a strong product moving forward. However, with the difficulty in market, if you can sell to Indian market, I can honestly say that you can sell it to anywhere else in the world if the same problem exists and the same solution is required. So, as I said in the start, the idea should have a density or the potential to expand over time for a bigger set of customers. But at the same time, you have to start small. You have to start very, very focused in a very small market, and always sell your vision to your potential customers, saying that this is the product that's going to be there in next 12 to 18 months, and this is what I'm building and for moving forward. Because current product would be a very, very small subset of what you're trying to give, and you should always sell on your vision, and the product sales will follow. So therefore you should have very, very clear vision from the day one. So we did a sizing of the market. We tried to do a simple data collection from NASSCOM and other sources, and we figured out there are as much as 6 to 7 million engineers or people working in IT and ITES space, and therefore the addressable market is, in fact, there are 6 to 7 million IT engineers in non-IT companies. There's There are NASSCOM members who are about 3.3 million members. So all of these put together gave us a rough idea about $1.8 billion opportunity only in the Indian market. So that's the market sizing and the go-to-market strategy. Now we look at the product. How do we expand the web? What do you build in the start, and how do you move from there? Who would use the product first? So we've been talking about that. There's a typical innovation curve which is showing on the screen right now. On the left, you will see there's an early adopters. These are the people who are innovators, who are adopters of new technologies, who are risk takers, and they would be the ones who will take your product. Even if you offer free, not everyone will take it. So even if you offer it free or at a very, very small cost, early adopters are the ones who will take it up. So while you are in the market for finding your early customers, you need to keep your mind open to understand who are these early adopters. Do they have a history of using new products? Do they jump on new technologies? Is the founder very gadget savvy? Is he using latest gadgets for himself? This will give you an indication, early indication of whether he's an early adopter or not, and whether you should invest your time in order to convince him to use your product. And normally these are the opinion makers, or these are the people who will also give you feedback to improve your product. So you need to catch those early adopters to start adopting your products. Once you get there, then you will have another curve where you will get into the growth phase where all the companies will start to use it. And there will be that late majority which will be people who would follow others. If they use it, then they will also use it. So Sapience was lucky enough to get early adopters in terms of ideas and XLIs who use the product and then later paid for it as well. This is how you start. We got a lot of feedback from that. And these customers help you in many ways. They help you validate the concept. They help you refine the positioning that you want to give to other customers moving forward as to what your product can do. It will also help you understand how to message to employees. So this product was about employee productivity. People would have, afraid about Sapience being a big boss, big brother watching on them. So how to position them, how to message it. And then they will also provide you with improved functionality, new features that they will suggest you. All of those are very, very important learning that you get from the early adopters. So Sapience moved on from 2010. We started selling to 50 to 200 people size of companies. 2011 we moved up to 2050, 2,500 people companies. 2012 we sold to 10,000 people kind of companies. In 2013-15, we are looking at making all the top 25 companies of India in IT and ITES space as our customers. And we want to establish leadership position in India. Therefore, then we will kick off the global. We have already kicked off global sales, but then focusing 2 years in India will give us a leadership position, and moving forward we will aim for global positioning as well. So sales, I told you, founders must be capable of generating at least first few crores in revenue. This is a very important thing because you cannot hire professional sales people. They're very, very costly, and you would not have enough money to do that. Plus, if you look at it the other way, founders are the most passionate about something that they've created. If they cannot sell their passion, if they cannot really, convince others based on their passion, based on their understanding of what they want to build, how can you imagine that the other person who is a third party and he doesn't really have same passion as yours for the product is able to sell and generate initial revenue for you? So you like it or not, but the founders are in the best position to tackle these issues. Plus there are a lot of real-time corrections that you need to do while you are on the field, even in terms of pricing, in terms of positioning, in terms of handy features that you want to offer right on the sales call. You are the best just to decide right and commit it there. So this is where the founders have to do it. Plus, once you start to generate revenue, you can always add professional teams and bring in professional people to take the sales as a formal process. So there would be a pre-sales team, there would be a lead generation team, there would be a lot of collateral that needs to be created, and so on and so on. So that formal thing will start to build up sooner or later. But you can do it only, I mean, wait for some momentum, some revenue to generate before you go there. So plus, you also need to understand what kind of marketing effort that are required. So let me go to the marketing slide. So before marketing, there is a pricing thing. Okay, let's talk about pricing. So pricing, understand that it is very, very tricky. There is no right or wrong price in my mind. It is the customer's willingness to pay for the, and quote unquote, perceived value from the product. It is, if the customer perceives it as a very valuable solution to his problem, he might be able to give you much more money than you would have even imagined. On the other hand, you would also need to be methodical about how do you define your pricing, because you will meet several different customers who will have different perceived value from the product. So you still need to set some baseline. And to do that, you'll have to have three requirements to fulfill. One is enabling high conversion rate of prospects to paying customers. So whatever demos that you're doing for your product needs to convert into customers. And the conversion rate will tell you what needs to happen. You would want to make it higher. Ensuring highest price for maximizing revenue, which is what the natural requirement would be, and aiming for recurring annual revenue. This is very important from investors' perspective. They look at revenues which can keep on coming every year, and that's very powerful in their mind. So we priced Sapience very low initially just to acquire more customers. Once sizable base was in place, we increased the price by 2 times to be more aligned with the value delivered that is in our mind. However, then we tweaked it further, and in our mind, the ideal price is the one which most of the customers are willing to pay after some negotiation, and we will lose a few deals on that price. So that means that yes, this is just about right. So you don't fear losing deals, and a couple of those you should lose in my mind in order to ensure that your pricing is right. So prior to being funded, we had a different pricing model. We offered a fixed price licensing for multiple years, for perpetual licensing, where we were just giving AMCs for year 2 and year 3 and so on. Then we changed on to only user subscriptions, and we created 2 editions. You should always give different price points to your customers based on their requirements. If it's a small company, they might not need all the features of the product. You trim down the version of your product into 2. One is a full-featured product at a higher cost, and one is this low, maybe a light edition, which is either offered free or with a different cost than the full-blown version. Or you can have 3. One is free, one is a light version, third is the full-featured blown version. So whichever model you choose, but you should always give various price points to the customer, so that he finds that he has chosen the right one for his need, and not bought something that he doesn't need. And so these are the options that you should offer for your customers. And as I said, pricing is always going to be tricky. You'll always struggle with the right price, but the moment you get deals with that price and you lose a couple of those out of let's say 5 to 10% deal, if you're losing with that price, that's okay. That's the ideal price that you determine. Now, marketing is another interesting facet that comes in from business. I think we don't have enough time, so I think a couple more slides are left, so that's fine. I think we should be able to make it up. So, Sapience was the only product in its category globally. So this created a challenge that we need to create awareness about the product. We need to create the product while we are on the go. And what we did is we chose that as an opportunity in the marketing, and we tried to become a thought leader in enterprise productivity space. So we focus on content-driven marketing on the digital space. We try to educate the market and try to spread the awareness of about the solution that Sapience can offer. We also changed the brand name. We had a previous name which was called as Innovice Tech Software, which changed to Sapience Analytics to bring one common brand across both the entities, the product as well as the company. And this meant that we created a different website for sapience.net and promoted Sapience brand heavily on it using various digital marketing tactics and including content marketing piece. So we created several productivity related blogs. Findings from Sapience got published in a story form and tried to create awareness on the productivity space in India. We also did testimonials, video testimonials from our customers, which had tremendous impact because these are the real users, the CEOs, the managers, and the employees of the customers talking to the, giving out their opinion on video directly. So that was very, very powerful. Plus, we also formed alliance with consulting companies so that they can take Sapience to their customers and becomes another sales channel for us. I think this is the last slide before we jump into Q&A. Fundraising. So there is always a question and the dilemma that am I selling out my company for cheap? Is there a right time or a right price for a company? So what we say is, based on your business need and based on your situation, if you feel that the price that is being given to you or the valuation that is given to your company is good, you should always accept the money coming in because it validates the business. Second, it also gives you more visibility and more hands because investors will also now try to help you go further in your business because it is in their interest as well. So you get more contacts, you get more doors open for you, and you get more visibility. Plus you needed the money which you got. So in my mind, funding will always help you moving forward. Obviously, you should not value it too much so that you lose interest in taking the company further. So, but it has to be decent valuation. Decent valuation will be around 20-25%, which you could take for the money that you get. And Sapience was lucky enough to get the right amount of funding at the right time, and we got funded by Indian Angel Network. Then we got funded from seed enterprises, and which helped at the right time because we were able to hire professionals from sales and marketing teams, and which improved our sales process. So that was the advantage that we got. Now we're looking at global sales, so we are looking at another round of funding which will allow us to go global and spend millions of dollars to generate sales and generate business in overseas geography. So that's pretty much it, and I have a long list of questions on the screen. Let me start addressing all of those.
Thank you,
So
Avinash, for the
put on your questions. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Avinash, for this insightful presentation. Now we are taking up the questions. I request you to read out the questions aloud and their answers so that all our users may listen to your insights.
Right. So one of the questions that have come is why Sapience required for a product-based company? So my answer is if product or services, it doesn't matter. If the person is working on a computer and if he is not a very, very planned and self-focused and self-motivated kind of a person, I would recommend Sapience for him. The simple answer to that is that if he or she, unless he or she knows what he or she is doing, there is no way to improve upon it. It's like, I want to reduce my weight by 5 kgs. But if I don't know my starting weight, how would I know whether I'm improving upon it or not? So Sapience gives you a very simple baseline, a very simple yardstick to begin with. But once you get into it, it will start to give you much more insights into, for example, let's say you started to change your behavior and you started to focus more on work. So how well you are faring in that? Whether you are able to cut down on your distractions, you will know day by day and week by week once you start to see Sapience on Sapience data. So therefore, Sapience is useful whichever work environment you are in, whether you're creating product or services. So let me go to the other question. Yes, I think it's an extension of the same question that I answered during my presentation. I've started my own company but don't have any partner, due to which I'm facing problems in terms of management. I have to look into multiple areas myself, and so on and so on. So as I said, you can look around your friends who are willing to contribute to your business, who share the same passion as yours, and maybe you can invite them as co-founders. So that's where you can get joining hands. You can also look at offering them stock options to begin with, and based on their performance, you can increase the stock options moving forward. So that way you don't dilute on the day one, and you can dilute based on the performance on that individual. So that's one way you can avoid it. The other question is, I have technical and operations partner, but no marketing or sales. Even though I have a great product, how to go ahead? So same answer for you. If you know somebody who is good in sales or marketing, try to bring him on board and give him equity, or else try to hire him on part equity, part salary. That's another way. Or else learn yourself. Since you are short on resources, being a startup company, you have to do it on your own. And even without experience, a founder with passion would be much better than a salesperson with 5 years of experience without that passion. So in my opinion, passion wins everything else. So another question is, I have only 2 years of MNC experience as a software developer, but have idea and clear vision to start business. So I form a team of 3 who have same mindset. So final question is that what is the right time for me to start a business? So that's a good question, and I can go back to my own days when I started my own business. So to tell you, I'm a co-founder at a company called InfoBeans. We started in 2000, and that was 3.5 years after my graduation. So the same question came to our mind as to what is the right time to start. Shall we wait, collect more money, get more fat salary, fat paychecks coming to us every month, or you just take the plunge and drop everything? So our logic at that point in time, which is still valid in my mind today, is that the more fatter your check will become, the more difficult it will be for you to drop it. And with passage of time, you will get married, you will have kids, and you will have all kinds of responsibilities. So I'll say that sooner the better is the time. This is the best time to start your business. The sooner the better. If you can start today, start today. I'm sure 3 years hence or 2 years hence, you will love that you decided on it and you took the plunge. Doing a business, doing an entrepreneurship is much more fulfilling than your fat salary checks. That's my experience, and I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs share the same experience. So I would say go for it right away. So how much technical debt do you generally observe in Indian IT services employees versus product company employees based on your 40 million hours of analysis? Now, I didn't understand technical debt. I think you mean technical depth. So if it is technical depth, I wouldn't say that we have a data in Sapience to come out with a comment on that. What I can say is we have general work patterns available for IT services employees, product employees, and so on. Product employees work more than services employees for sure. Product employees are more focused on their technical work than the services employees for sure. Product employees do less meetings than services employees. Yeah, these are general patterns that I can tell you. So one more thing is I hired a couple of people for development unit. After some time, they left. This major issue for me. I am not in a condition to pay because of funding problem, due to which I am stuck to pick up some more project. Late happened in the project delivery. I have to complete. So I'm not getting the real question. I think you're saying that you hired some people for developer and they left. And now, how do you complete your project? I would say, do it yourself or hire more people, or, get some friends help over the weekend, try and address that. Another question is, I'm interested in start a firm. What time will be a good time to start with? I said, do it right away. It's the best time to start. How can we declare a product as a good product? Very good question. So if a customer is willing to pay money for your product, then it is a good product. And if the customer continues to renew your licenses, then it is a very good product. And the customer recommends your product to his friends and colleagues, then you have a best product at your hand. The next question is, the hardest thing is to convince a person to buy your product. How to tackle that? That's very true, Jatin, and I think that's true. In India, selling a product and letting people pay for their product is very, very difficult. But if you're trying to address a problem and if you're pricing it right, I think they'll buy it sooner or later. So you need to be consistent or persistent enough to just chase your dreams and ensure that you are able to make that sale. And believe me, it is only initial sales that are difficult. Once you get a traction, then it will become increasingly easier. So what are the initial challenges faced with convincing the customers? As per my assumption, most companies have already similar software in place or in-house. Yeah, that's a very good question, Kiran. And people do have similar argument when we go and try and sell them that we already have an in-house product. Why do we need your product? Or they'll say that we already have similar software that we downloaded from the internet. So what we say is, try it out for free for, let's say, 2 months or 3 months. And once you see the difference, then you will know what it is. Plus, we always tell them that even if it is in-house, no amount of development abilities can match an in-house product versus a company which is solely surviving on that product. So if my bread and butter is only that product, I will ensure that I do all that I can, to make the product the best, because I am surviving on that product. Second is, I'm learning from multiple customers in the business. Therefore, I can give you much more mature product than you can build for yourself. Plus, in-house companies always
There seems to be some audio problem. Can you please check? Avinash, can you please check? There seems to be some connectivity problem, and due to time constraint, I request Avinash to take the unanswered questions offline, which I will share with him through online email. I am really thankful to our guest speaker for conducting this wonderful webinar. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the webinar will be available on techgig.com by tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us for today.